Hi, I'm Sherry and welcome back to my channel, Sherry Jones Designs. In today's video, we are going to make another easy, beginner-friendly tunic, and I put this one second on purpose because it's just a different rendition of the one we've already done. So if you've mastered the first one, then you're ready to move on to this next one. And remember the first one we did, it was straight across. We cut straight across. Now, if you were small busted, this garment would hang lower, look like it does on the hanger. Let me put it up here and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we cut this one straight across. I'll try to remember to link the video to this in the description, so if you want to watch that one you can. And we cut this one straight across. Now, if you were if your bust was enough to fill all this up, this garment would actually wear like that. But if you oversized it, it will droop on both sides like that. So you will get more of a droop look. Well, what we're going to do today is actually create a drooped look through the, we're going to drop it down a little bit, and we're going to angle our sides. And I'm going to show you how, using pretty much the very same technique, we can create a slightly new look, because it also hangs down more. It's a little more like, do they call it legging look or lagging look or whatever? It's a little bit more like that, and it's a little bit more sort of mystical, like a lot of young people might actually prefer that look. I mean, this already is. This is already very playful, youthful sort of look. But the look we're going to do next is a little bit more enchanted sort of look. So basically, we're going to be using kind of the same thing we did in the last video. I'm going to be using a long sleeve shirt. This is a more of a spandex mix. This is a men's. It's kind of like one of those quick dry shirts. Now, again, you could use any top. If you have a hoodie, if you have a collared shirt, you can use any shirt pretty much for the top. You can even use a jacket for the top. And then for the bottom, I'm going to be using these two shirts for the bottom pieces. But this time we're going to cut it a little bit different. Alright, so here we have our shirt, and you're going to lay it out, your shirt out as flat as you can get it. Some of them are tricky. This one has a spandex mix. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to decide how far down you want, you know, we're going to be doing an arch here, and how far down you want that. Now, if you're large busted, you can actually try, or if you're afraid it's going to come up in the middle of your bust and that's not where you want it, you can try the shirt on and then put a pin in wherever you want this angle to start. And you can do this cut. You can do this cut anywhere from here clear down to like here. Like, you could turn this into a dress if you wanted to drop your waist on this down, you know, down to a waistline instead of pulling it up here somewhere. I'm going to go a little bit higher on this one, but you absolutely can come clear down here and turn this into a dress. They make really pretty dresses too. So what you're going to do is mark where you want the height. You're going to go right to the center of your garment, and where you want the height of the arch, you're going to mark it, and then we're going to fold it in half and make our cut. That's how we're going to do this. Now, you could use a pin, or you can use a piece of chalk, and I think I want my arch to kind of be like here and come down. So I'm going to put a mark here, and then I'm going to fold the shirt in half. Now, you want to make sure you get it folded really well, like not shifted sideways. I'm going to be matching seams, sleeves. I'm going to take my time here, making sure I've got it laid out. There aren't any of these wrinkles in it. You can't have anything like that. We want this to be laid out as flat and as straight as we can get it, because we're going to be cutting them both at once. And so here I've got it as flat as I can get it. My hemlines are good. Now I'm going to, here's the center of my arch, and now you can decide the drop you want. I'm going to come straight for a little bit, like that. And that's 5 inches or so, I think, there. It'll depend on the width of your garment. If you have a garment like this, you know, you'll come in more. But it's about, what I'm coming in is about half of the garment. Yeah, I'm on about 5 inches here somewhere. And then you're going to start curving. And pick where you want to curve to. I'm going to come with a drop of at least 4 inches. Yeah, I'm going to do at least 4. You could even do a little more if you want. So I'm going to pick somewhere around here for the drop where I'm going to cut to. And then I'm just going to sketch my angle from here, from my drop to where this angle, I come across straight. And then I'm going to angle it down to that drop like that. And I'm going to cut that. I might even go a little bit more smooth in my angle here. Like that. And I'm going to cut that angle out. If I can find my scissors, I will cut the angle out. Okay, so here you're just going to cut your angle by doing them both at the same time, and by putting your garment flat, you won't have one longer than the other. And now, when you open it up, it's going to look like this. So it's going to look like this. And what we're going to do now, we'll be using the bottoms of these again, and it will be sewn where it actually does fall. And that'll create longer tails on the sides for more dramatic sort of, you know, more, it's a little bit more dramatic look. So now we're going to set this aside, and we're going to go to our shirts. You can disassemble your shirt. You can cut sleeves off and all that, but I'm just going to today, for ease, I'm just going to cut the bottoms of these off. I'm going to go a little bit longer this time because this is a dress. I'm just going to work at this and get this to lay flat, just like we did the other ones. You can kind of feel if you've got anything folded over, and just keep at it. You can do this too, help pick it up and just shake it, and that will also help the fabric to not stick to itself. But you definitely don't want to be cutting something that's not flat, because you will have like folded fabric. When you cut it, it'll create like little V shapes and things like that. You also, on this one, you can make the front and the back the same length, or you can make the back longer. It's up to you. You can use linens for this. You could use a piece of fabric for this, a big rectangle. Okay, so here we have it flat as can be, as I can get it. And now I'm just going to decide on the height. And I think I'm just going to come under this pocket and leave myself this top, because it is a nice feeling top that I might make something else out of it later on. And I'm just going to come across here. And I've got a nice stripe to follow, so I don't need my ruler on this one. All right. And we're going to lay out our second shirt. This one would be my back. It is actually, I don't know if it's as wide, but it's darker, and I like the dark one in the back. Let's see if it's as wide. Now here's a good example of how shirts differ. This one has a tail and is more tailored in size. If it is too narrow, I can always take some off my other shirt on the ends if I don't like how it looks. So let's see. It is just a little bit, but we might be all right. We'll see what it looks like. And I can see on this one, you can see right here, that by me pulling it all the way, almost clear up here, I'm at the same length on this one. So I can either choose, I've got a bit of a tail here, just leave that like it is, or I can come down a little bit on this one. I don't know that I'm going to be using this top as it is because it's a little bit crispy feeling. So I'm probably just going to cut it off straight across about as high as I can get it and use it just like it is. So what I'm going to do, instead of trying to follow that piece I had on top of it, because I wasn't sure I had it, I wasn't sure that it was perfectly square to this one because it was wider. So what I'm going to do is use my ruler, my sewing ruler here, crafting ruler, and I'm just going to cut this off. And if you don't have that to do that with, you can use a yardstick and either draw it and then take your scissors and follow it, or you can use the, if you have a rotary cutter, you can use that. So those are some different ways to get a really good cut for this, and it can be a little bit off. It won't change that much if it's just a little bit off. Well, looks like I still got a couple of threads hanging on here. This is a very, very good 100% cotton shirt. Okay, now we're going to take, let's see what we're looking at width-wise. I'm going to unbutton these and lay them out and see how much I have on each one, the width difference. And I'm going to go ahead and trim any tags I see, because it's not going to be the same garment. You know, we are changing its reality of its existence. That's going to be my back, and I'm quite certain this is going to be several inches wider, and I may not want that. We'll see what it looks like. But I'm thinking it's going to be a couple inches wider on each side, but we'll see. It's not too bad. We're going to try to roll with it. Okay. And one thing, when you cut shirts off, sometimes they will do this. You see this arch? Because there's extra fabric in the back of men's shirts sometimes. What I do, if I get that, it means I didn't have it laying quite as flat as I should have, is I will just lay it out, and then I'm just going to come along and trim that off. That is, I get that commonly. It'll feel like it's flat to me, and I'll lay it out, and then there's that arch. But there's, in the back of a men's shirt, there's a gather, and so I think that's what causes that. At least that's my theory. All right, let's take these pieces now. What we will be doing is we're going to find the center here. This is just like how you put the other one together. If you watch my other video, we're going to go do the same thing. We're going to find the center here, and it's the center between these two seams, not these, because the button over one side's longer. So what you're going to do is find the center between these two, and that's my center here. I'm going to put a pin in it. And this is my front piece, and you make sure that you have right side up, because we're just going to be sticking that under there like that and sewing it down. And now we just need to find the center for here, and the way you can do that is to fold your shirt. We probably still have the mark, don't we, here? And we're going to put a pin there, or put a mark on it. And then, oops, I think I went through both. Just one, please. Okay, and then here. Okay, and then so we're going to go to the machine now and make sure we have the right side up. to the right side here. I think I marked that backwards. Like that. We're going to take our front and we're going to pin it, and I'm going to start from the middle and sew out. And the reason why is it tends, if I start here, it tends to, like, if I get stretch, whatever, it'll shove the whole thing this way. I do much better starting from my center, and it doesn't look like the center. The center looks like it's here. So let me do that again. Did I mess up that bad? This is slinky, so I'm a little bit concerned. I may use my, I don't want to use like my walking foot or something. Something that you guys might not have. I want to use what you guys would have. Yep, I'm off center for sure. You know what, probably, even if I was, it probably won't matter that much. But let's see what it looks like from the front now. That does look more center-ish. Center is here somewhere. Right, yep, right there. Okay, so then we're going to match our center points here, and I'm going to pin it in place so that I have a generalized center. If it's a ½ inch hanging more on one side or the other, it isn't going to change the overall look that much. But now I have a starting point, and what I will do at the machine is I'm going to stitch this. You can use straight stitch, you can use zigzag, because this doesn't stretch. Straight stitch is fine. And we're going to just sew all the way, this on all the way down, just to this point where this seam is here. And then we're going to come back, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Sew it on all the way, like as if it was flat, over here. So let's get to the machine and we'll do that, and then we'll put the back one on, and we'll continue. And I'll show you what it looks like. Now, if you like raw edges, you can put this on top of here if you like the fray, because knit won't fray. That's why I have it on top. If you want to see the fray, put this one here on the top and sew it on. And then you'll have some fray. So I'm going to go ahead and use black thread on this. I usually only use black and white, but you can use any color you want in your creation. You could go with a color that's in here. You could go with a completely, you know, whatever you wanted to do, you thought looked good on your garment. I'm going to do black. So white would have looked fine in my opinion. A color would have looked fine. So, okay, cream. It's got a cream background. Cream would have looked nice. Of course, those are my opinions, you know. You might be of a different one. Alright, so I've got my generalized center here, and I'm just going to make it lay flat, and with knits, be very careful not to overstretch, and I've got a spandex on top of that, so it's going to be a little tricky. And I'm going to try to be very careful not to stretch it. I'm even thinking about using a different stitch, but we're going to try zigzag, because I just like how it looks. It's kind of my signature stitch in a way. I'm going to take my time, make sure I don't stretch it. And it's just like how we did the last one. We're going to come to where the seam is at. And it's okay if it goes before or after. Usually you want this seam even or after, so it's not in the garment. But I mean, it really wouldn't ruin the garment per se if you did see it. And then we're just going to stop right at the point here that we have. And I usually do a little back stitch to lock it in, but I don't do too much because sometimes you have to take them out, and if you get it wrong or something's going on, or you need to, sometimes I'll do that and then I need to actually put something underneath it, and then I've got a terribly hard stitch to remove. A knit is not kind. If you make holes in knit, knit will not forgive you. You've got a hole. If you make a hole, you've got a hole. It's not like cotton where you can just rub it out. Knit is much different. So now I'm going to go this way. And we're going to do the same thing all the way to the other side. Take my time, make sure nothing is stretching. All the fabrics are relaxed but laying flat. And I'm just overlapping about the same amount. It's really 3/8 to about 1/2 inch. Most of your upcycling, it is 3/8, somewhere around 3/8 to 1/2 inch overlap, because 1/4 inch is just not quite enough to give you a little bit of room for if you move your stitching. So, and this one, this seam is going to be a little bit to the inside, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. If you find you don't have enough of a tail when you do this, what you can do is just add to your tail here on the end. And if we have to do that, we will. It just makes it cuter. The more pieces you add, the cuter your garment gets. Usually. Alright, now we're going to get our brown one, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put it on the same way we did the front. We're just going to be a little different when we get here because we'll be joining them. So I did just like last time. I pinned the center point, and I'm going to start there. Being careful. Sometimes the pieces of your garment will hang off your table and cause your top to stretch. So you can either alleviate that by tossing it up or try to put it in your lap. Anything to take so that your garment isn't stretching if you've got a knit for your top. Like I said, this is a spandex, high spandex mix, so it wants to stretch really, really bad. And I may, even with all my care, I may still see some stretching in it. I'm just making sure I'm about at the center, about the right overlap. Put my needle down. Always start off with your needle down if you can. It'll help you to get a good start with your sewing. Every time you go to take off, put your needle down and make sure your threads are behind you, and you will have a much more success in getting a good takeoff. And then we're going to do the same thing, being careful not to stretch, making sure everything's relaxed. We've got at least a 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch overlap. And we'll just keep it up. Remember, with the angle, you have to keep checking. Now, if you're nervous, you can pin it. Here, even, you could put a pin or two. I'm just going a little ways. I'm looking again. I'm checking. I'm going to come back to the center here. And now when we reach this point, you can finish this go down this a couple of ways. One of the ways, if you like raw edges, is once you get to your point, we're still making sure that we're putting this under. Make sure this is tucked under the same distance. And we're going to get right to the point here. Okay, now one of the things you can do is just, once you get to this point, put your needle down. Make sure your needle's down so you can pivot. If you like raw edges, you can just sew it just like that. You can just lay this one over this one and just sew straight down. If you want a more finished edge, a way to cheat it in is now just flip this one under if you have one of these or something kind of pointy, you can actually turn that under just enough to catch it, and then you can cheat in a hem all the way down like this. Then just fold it, lay it on top, crease it, and sew all the way down. So freeing to set down, and if I wasn't even doing any decorating and this was all I was doing, how quick it is to make a pretty piece like this. To reuse shirts that, you know, maybe you had never worn because there was a stain on the front, or, you know, maybe somebody had tears in the sleeves of a shirt and they didn't want to wear it anymore. Maybe it didn't fit them anymore. And it would have went into the garbage. To make something that you would have to pay good money for on Etsy for. Let's do the other one. And these make good gifts because they're very versatile. You know, you can, if you know someone likes this kind of style, I mean, it's something you can make and, you know, give somebody a gift of would be equivalent of, you know, quite a few dollars to buy it. And it was handmade. I mean, we live in a society right now where everything is fast and, you know, made in China and everything's the same. To have something that you planned the colors, maybe it was grandpa's or grandma's clothing that you reused. You know, you can create really unique family heirloom, kind of heirlooms, but family memory pieces. And I mean, I'm not one for hanging on to the past, but it is nice to have some pieces to remind you of the people in your lives that you care about. Okay, so here we go. I'm just making sure I'm not stretching this. This is nice and relaxed. I'm starting back at my center. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Overlapping. I'm overlapping at least a half an inch here. Taking my time. I found it takes me longer to put the decorations on than it does to actually create the first piece and to find the colors that go together. Going through what I have, you know, I'm not going, you know, I'm going through what I have and then finding the pieces in the right size that work together. So if you were in a thrift store or something, it might be easier because your selection would be bigger. Okay, now I'm coming back to here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold this, making sure that this ends. I'm going to make sure that ends where I want it to end. Make sure my needle's down. And then make sure, like I said, if you don't rise, you don't even have to fold it. You can just keep going. I'm just going to make sure I'm folded it. And then I'm over this. Do a little, and I don't care if there's an angle here. My plaid isn't perfect there. I'm going to come down like that. I'm just going to keep folding all the way through this. You just fold it over. If you didn't want any fraying at all on this top edge, you could serge it or zigzag it first. I always sew all the way out to the end because you want it all folded over. And make sure you do your back stitch so it doesn't come undone. Now we're going to look at it and see if we like everything. And then we're going to decorate it just like we did last time. We'll add something cute and fun to it. Clip our strings. You see it's much more dramatic. You've got a lot more drooping compared to this one. But they're both cute. They're both really cute looks. We haven't finished decorating it yet. But that's the droop. If you want these to be longer than they are here, which that's pretty long, all you have to do is add more out here to your tails. You just add more, so when it falls, it will fall longer. But that's what it looks like. And the back looks like this. And wouldn't that be cute with like jeans and boots? Like, that's really cute. Imagine a sweater with flannels. Like, that would be so sweet. And it's not hard. Like, you saw how easy that was. You can do this. Now we're going to decorate a little bit. We're going to put some things onto it like we did, you know, something like we did this one to dress it up a little bit. But you wouldn't have to. I mean, honestly, if you pick cute colors, you could even do just a denim pockets or something. Like, you wouldn't have to do the small little details if you didn't want to. And there's a lot of people that don't even like the patches. They prefer, because it is more normal looking clothing, like you would buy, you know, at a shopping mall or something. It's a little bit more normal when you just don't add all the little details. So, but let's say you really loved your details. You know, you were one of those artsy people. You could put anything on here. I've seen people sew on plushies and tiny little things and buttons and broken watches. I mean, I've seen Etsy, they just like they sew on anything. On the ones they'll call them artsy or something like that. So it's all what you see in your mind's eye and what you can figure out how to wash. I looked at some of them, I'm like, how would you wash that? That's not a washable item. You just sewed on your piece of clothing. But to each his own. Maybe they dry clean, and I don't know how that works. I'm too much of a country bumpkin. So, all right, let's keep going. Let's make it a little bit cuter. I'm not going to get super crazy on it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm still in pocket hell. I can't find the right pockets, and I'm wondering if the answer is no pockets, but I tried this, and I kind of like it. It's a couple of denim pockets, and this is something, you know, everybody has a pair of old jeans, right? So, I'm kind of liking it. I just want to show you that when you pin it on straight with the plaid, they're going to slant. They're going to slant at an angle because this is at an angle. So that's partly what messes with me because I like everything kind of neat and squared off. But I actually like the angle of it, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. You know, everybody has their own taste, so I don't know, you know, everybody's probably sitting behind the screen screaming different things. No pockets, don't ruin it. No, put patches on it. I'm not sure which way you're cheering for, but the reason I don't want to do a lot up here is this is really thin. It's really thin, and I know it'll pucker, and it'll also rip when you wash it easy. If you start with making little holes in it, those holes being spandex are going to tear real quickly. And that's also one reason I zigzag with knit, is it gives me less chance, more to get a hold of, to not put so much on like one area. It spreads it out over a big area. It makes the garment last longer because I am so hard on clothes. I go through clothes like crazy. I ruin my clothes, okay? So I try to make my stuff as tough as I can. I don't always do that, but I try. I'm going to do that. I think it would still be cute with little patches and things on it. Like, I think it would still be cute, but I think I'm going to kind of go with a streamlined sort of classic look because it feels, the look to me is a little bit more classic with the smoothness of the fabric. And so that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to see if I'm going to call it. It may be all I do. I don't know, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, are you ready? Here's what it looks like. I did do a few patches, but see how it drops more, it drops down more to the sides. Very comfortable. I mean, I would definitely wear this. Sometimes I'm like, if nobody buys it, it's mine. It's hard to wish for sales if it's comfortable. But yeah, it's very, very nice, very comfortable. And so I hope this gives you guys some ideas of things that you can change things up and do. You see how it's more like a dress. I am short, and I'm also short-waisted. So remember, if you go to purchase this, I'm only about 5 foot tall. So it's going to hit you higher, and the waist is going to hit you higher up here. So more likely if you're average size. If you're short, then you know exactly how it's gonna look. So yeah, I love it. I think it could have had more up here, but this is so thin. This is a very thin spandex. I knew it would just pucker. Even where I tried to do the patchwork here, it was trying. So thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Happy sewing.